The customer is always right. Serve them with a smile and some Spanish, and watch your business grow. Bienvenidos. Welcome to Business Spanish. The Business Spanish Podcast will help you develop your skills as a bilingual professional in negotiation and communication, whether you're in the boardroom or the break room. I'm your host, Michelle, and I invite you to join us in each episode as we explore the Spanish of different industries, business disciplines, and cultures. ¿Listos? Manos a la obra. Hola, buenos días, buenas tardes a todos nuestros oyentes. I want to thank you for helping our Business Spanish podcast grow to include listeners in 34 countries on 6 continents. Please continue to recommend and share our podcast so that we can continue to provide you with unique and informative content. I'm also excited to announce that you can now also find the podcast on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, Serious Spanish. I'll leave links in the show notes. Today, we'll be examining the Spanish of customer service. Customer service, as you know, is the lifeblood of any successful organization. Your company relies on customers for its revenue, and with inadequate service, your sales and customer loyalty will most surely flounder. It's no surprise that for many businesses, it is essential to offer bilingual and even multilingual support. In particular, and especially in the United States, Hispanic customers will often choose to give their business to those companies that recognize and value their language and culture. And they're likely to share their good experience with their family and friends too. In this episode, we'll start by introducing some customer service vocabulary, and we will practice several translation exercises using that new vocabulary. Finally, we will listen to 3 Spanish dialogues between a customer and a service representative, pausing in between to summarize the exchanges. Be sure to check out our show notes to find the new vocabulary and translations from this episode, along with the transcriptions of the dialogues and their English translations. So put on your listening ears and have a pen and paper in hand. Today, we'll learn the ins and outs of Spanish customer service, because at the end of the day, the customer is always right. El cliente siempre tiene la razón. So, what is customer service? Well, in Spanish, customer service is el servicio de atención al cliente, or just atención al cliente. El servicio de atención al cliente es todo el apoyo que una empresa les brinda a sus clientes, ya sea antes, durante o después de la compra, y que los ayuda a tener una excelente experiencia con la empresa. So we're going to take a look at some vocabulary that has to do with customer service. And then we're going to use that vocabulary in a few translation exercises. Let's start with some nouns. Customer service, as we already said, is el servicio de atención al cliente, or just la atención al cliente. Complaint is la queja, or you may hear el reclamo. La queja or el reclamo. Request is la solicitud. So again, as a reminder, this is the request, not to request. We're talking about nouns. Inquiry is la consulta. Warranty or guarantee, la garantía. La garantía. The answer or the reply is la respuesta. La respuesta. The receipt is el recibo. El recibo. You might also hear el comprobante. Refund or reimbursement, el reembolso. El reembolso. Replacement, el reemplazo. El reemplazo. Feedback, as in customer feedback, is la retroalimentación. La retroalimentación. And sometimes the Spanglish version is also used, el feedback. Customer service representative is el or la, depending on if it's a man or a woman, el o la representante de atención al cliente. Agent is el or la agente. El agente or la agente. Now let's take a look at adjectives. Adjectives in particular that would describe maybe a product or a service. So how might a customer describe a product that is damaged? Damaged would be dañado. Dañado. And again, if your noun is feminine, you want to use the feminine form of these adjectives, which in this case would be dañada. Dañada. Broken is roto. Defective, defectuoso. Defectuoso. Expired is vencido. Vencido. Stained, manchado. Manchado. Incomplete, incompleto. Incompleto. Satisfied, satisfecho. Satisfecho. Dissatisfied, insatisfecho. Insatisfecho. Poor quality is de mala calidad. De mala calidad. Finally, we're going to introduce some verbs that you might use in customer service. To greet, as in to greet a client, is saludar. Saludar. To return, as in to return a product, is devolver. Devolver un producto, por ejemplo. To reimburse is reembolsar. Reembolsar. To call, llamar. Llamar. To answer, like to answer the phone, contestar. Contestar el teléfono. To ask, as in asking a question, is preguntar. Preguntar. And we have another word for to ask, such as to ask for something. So if we are asking for something, the verb we use in that case is pedir. Pedir. To answer, like to answer a customer, would be responder, responder, or contestar. Contestar. To complain is quejarse. Quejarse. It's a reflexive verb. To fill out, as in to fill out a form, is llenar. Llenar un formulario, or you might hear llenar una forma. To talk to the supervisor is hablar. Hablar con el supervisor. To guarantee is garantizar. Garantizar. And to respond is responder. Responder. Great. Okay, now we're going to take just some of that vocabulary we just learned, and we're going to use it to translate a few sentences into Spanish. So I'm going to say the sentence in English, and then I will repeat it, and then pause. And I want you to try to use that vocabulary to translate it into Spanish. And then we will give you the Spanish translation to check your work. Are you ready? Okay, here's the first sentence. When dissatisfied customers call to file a complaint, it's important to answer the call politely and assure them of our quality guarantee. When dissatisfied customers call to file a complaint, it's important to answer the call politely and assure them of our quality guarantee. Cuando los clientes insatisfechos llamen para presentar una queja, es importante responder a la llamada amablemente y asegurarles nuestra garantía de calidad. Okay, we're going to break that down into smaller sections. When dissatisfied customers. Cuando los clientes insatisfechos call to file a complaint, llaman para presentar una queja, so literally to present a complaint. It's important to answer the call politely. Es importante responder a la llamada amablemente and assure them of our quality guarantee. Y asegurarles nuestra garantía de calidad. So once more, cuando los clientes insatisfechos llamen para presentar una queja, es importante responder a la llamada amablemente y asegurarles nuestra garantía de calidad. Muy, muy bien. All right, the next sentence. The agent should ask if their order arrived incomplete, damaged, or defective, and have the customer fill out an online complaint form. The agent should ask if their order arrived incomplete, damaged, or defective, and have the customer fill out an online complaint form. El agente debe preguntar si su pedido llegó incompleto, dañado o defectuoso y pedir al cliente que llene un formulario de reclamo en línea. Let's break that down again. The agent should ask. El agente debe preguntar if their order arrived incomplete, si su pedido llegó incompleto, damaged or defective, dañado o defectuoso, and have the customer fill out an online complaint form. Y pedir al cliente que llene un formulario de reclamo en línea. Otra vez, el agente debe preguntar si su pedido llegó incompleto, dañado o defectuoso y pedir al cliente que llene un formulario de reclamo en línea. ¡Excelente! All right, we got a shorter one this time. The customer must return the product to us and opt for a refund or replacement. The customer must return the product to us and opt for a refund or replacement. El cliente debe devolvernos el producto y optar por un reembolso o un reemplazo. So let's break that down. The customer must return the product to us. El cliente debe devolvernos el producto and opt for a refund or replacement. Y optar por un reembolso o un reemplazo. Muy bien. Now just one more translation sentence, and then we're going to move on to the customer service dialogues. At the end of the call, we ask customers to respond to a short survey to gather their feedback. At the end of the call, we ask customers to respond to a short survey to gather their feedback. Al final de la llamada, pedimos a los clientes que respondan a una breve encuesta para recopilar su retroalimentación. So let's break that one down. At the end of the call, al final de la llamada, we ask customers to respond. Pedimos a los clientes que respondan to a short survey, a una breve encuesta, to gather their feedback, para recopilar su retroalimentación. So once more, al final de la llamada, pedimos a los clientes que respondan a una breve encuesta para recopilar su retroalimentación. Excelente trabajo, amigos. Hola, amigos. I hope you're enjoying this podcast and learning ways to improve your professional Spanish skills. Interested in one-on-one coaching? In addition to this podcast, I offer private and small group Spanish lessons online for beginner to intermediate speakers. For a limited time, your first session is free. For more details, leave a comment or email BusinessSpanishPodcast@gmail.com. See the show notes for more information. Si estás escuchando este podcast y quieres mejorar tu inglés, no esperes más. Ofrezco lecciones de inglés en línea y tu primera clase es gratis. Para obtener más detalles, deje un comentario o envíame un correo a BusinessSpanishPodcast@gmail.com. Ve la descripción de este episodio para más información. Great job with the translation exercises, guys. Now we're going to move on and listen to 3 different customer service dialogues. And these dialogues are supposedly taking place over the phone. However, you could use some of the terms and interaction and adapt them to an in-person type customer service situation. We are not going to translate the dialogues in the podcast, but we will have the translations of the dialogues available with the transcriptions in the show notes for the episode. So listen closely. In the first dialogue, we hear a customer calling in. See if you can understand why she is calling and what kind of resolution is being made by the customer service representative. Escucha bien. Buenos días. Les saluda Mariela de la empresa Alcanzabala International. ¿En qué le puedo ayudar?
Buenos días. Estoy llamando porque aún no llega mi pedido y la fecha de entrega estaba fijada para ayer.
No hay problema, señora. ¿Tiene el número de pedido para que yo pueda verificar su estado?
Sí, a ver. El número es el 391-645.
Su pedido aún no ha llegado y debió haber llegado ayer, ¿verdad?
Así es.
Voy a hablar con mi gerente para averiguar qué sucedió con su pedido. ¿Puede esperar unos minutitos en la línea?
Sí. Aquí espero.
Gracias, señora, por su paciencia. Al revisar la información de rastreo de su pedido, vemos que fue retenido debido a una tormenta. Pero la buena noticia es que en estos momentos se encuentra para ser entregado hoy.
¡Qué bueno! De verdad estoy necesitando la mercancía.
Siento mucho la confusión. Si tiene cualquier otro problema, no dude en llamarnos de nuevo. Gracias por confiar en nosotros y espero que tenga un buen día. All right, so what happened here in this customer service exchange? We heard the customer call in because their order was supposed to have been delivered yesterday and it still hadn't arrived. So they provided their order number. The customer service representative put them on hold and spoke to their manager to see what happened. Came back and said, I was able to track your number and we found out that it was delayed because of a storm. But the good news is that it's out for delivery today. Now, listen closely to the second dialogue, and you will hear that the customer isn't quite as patient or polite as the customer in the previous dialogue. Listen closely and see if you can tell what kind of business the customer is calling, what problems the customer is having, and what the customer service representative does to help resolve the problem.
Buenas tardes. Soy Gilberto del equipo de apoyo de Banco Fed. ¿Cómo puedo ayudarle hoy?
Mira, estoy tratando de hacer una transferencia y tu estúpida página web no me deja entrar. He probado varias contraseñas y de repente me bloqueó.
Lamento mucho escuchar eso, pero seguro que resolveremos este problemita. Entonces, no logra acceder a su cuenta y necesita ayuda para recuperar su contraseña, ¿verdad?
Eso, ya te lo dije.
Esto es fácil de arreglar. Para recuperar su contraseña, simplemente accede a la página de inicio de sesión y haga clic en Olvidé mi contraseña. Recibirá un enlace en su correo electrónico para configurar una nueva contraseña.
¡Híjole! ¿Y por eso tuve que esperar 5 minutos en la línea para conectarme? ¡Increíble!
Me disculpo por la molestia. Por favor, intente otra vez siguiendo las instrucciones que le mencioné.
Está bien.
Excelente. ¿Hay algo más en que le pueda ayudar?
Ya no, ya me quiero ir.
Muy bien. Le agradecemos su patrocinio y háganos saber si tiene otra duda. Buen día.
Great. So you should have understood that the caller was calling a bank because he was having trouble signing in to make a money transfer. The customer service representative was polite and calm and told him simply to retry, go back to the sign-on page, and click on I forgot my password, and they should be able to get back in. Now, one final dialogue. Again, listen closely and we will quickly review it afterwards. Hola, me llamo Ariana del Centro de Atención al Cliente de Grupo Lujo. ¿Me permite su nombre?
Sí, soy Fernanda y la joyería que les compré llegó defectuosa.
defectuosa. Entiendo su preocupación. Por supuesto, su satisfacción es importante para nosotros.
Me molesta bastante porque iba a usarla en una boda este fin de semana.
Lamento mucho todo esto. Si usted me da su nombre completo y número de orden, intentaré resolver su problema ahora mismo.
El nombre es Fernanda Ríos Zavala y el número de orden es el 536119.
Muy bien, señorita Ríos. Permítame buscar su información en la computadora. Aquí está. Así que le puedo ofrecer la siguiente solución. Usted tiene la opción de recibir un reembolso o un reemplazo y devolvernos la mercancía defectuosa. ¿Cuál prefiere?
Pues preferiría un reemplazo de la joyería, pero ¿sería posible que me llegara antes del fin de semana? ¿Y me obliga a pagar el envío para devolver el producto defectuoso?
Sí, señorita, el reemplazo será por envío urgente y llegará en 2 días. Nuestra empresa paga el envío de la devolución. Si usted me permite su correo electrónico, le mandaré una etiqueta para imprimir y fijar al paquete.
Claro, mi correo es fernanda.rios@gmail.com. ¿Y me puedes enviar también el número de rastreo?
Por supuesto, se lo enviaré tan pronto lo tenga. Otra vez, siento mucho el problema de calidad que usted experimentó con nuestros productos. Es nuestro deseo cuadrarlo de manera rápida y eficaz. Y para expresar nuestra gratitud, nos gustaría ofrecerle un descuento de un 25% en su próxima compra de nuestros productos. Le enviaré el cupón junto con la etiqueta de devolución.
Gracias, señora. Espero que no tenga el mismo problema con su mercancía en el futuro.
Seguro que no. Ha sido un placer atenderla el día de hoy. No dude en comunicarse si tiene otra pregunta. Great. Well, that was a little bit longer dialogue. And what's happening here? Well, we see the customer is calling in because they did receive the order, but it was defective. It was some jewelry that was defective. So the customer service agent apologizes as usual and asks for the order number and looks it up and says that she can either offer a replacement or a refund for the amount of the order. And the customer says they would like a replacement, but they need it to arrive before the weekend because they were needing to use it at a wedding. So the customer service agent says they can expedite the order and that they will also send a shipping label so that the customer does not have to pay for the shipping to return the defective product to the company. And to express gratitude, the agent also offered the customer a 25% off coupon for future orders. And that concludes our episode on customer service for Business Spanish. Be sure to check out the show notes for the customer service terms introduced in this episode, as well as the translation exercises, dialogue transcriptions, and translations. Don't forget to subscribe and share this podcast with your friends and colleagues. Take a couple seconds to leave us a good rating and review, and email us at BusinessSpanishPodcast@gmail.com to let us know what you want to hear in future episodes. Gracias por tu lealtad. Nos vemos pronto.